Hi everybody, this is Tina Meigh. I'm a partner at the Maples Group in the Cayman Islands, and also I'm Vice Chairman of the FFA Board. One of the more recent initiatives that the FFA has established is its mentoring program. It's something we rolled out in the pilot launch last October 2019 in the US market. And then following the successful establishment of that, we introduced it in the European market. Today, I'm joined by Rob Gledhill from MUFG, who took part in the initial launch of the US program. Rob, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure.
Fantastic. Well, look, this is more about to hear about your experience in relation to the program. So perhaps you can tell us a bit about the program, what sparked your interest, and how everything's going.
Absolutely. So I signed up to the Fund Finance University Educational Day back in September 2020, which I kind of discovered ad hoc through someone sharing it on LinkedIn. And the University Day was absolutely excellent, not only due to the quality of the content, but the range of industry speakers and just how up to date the material was. Just by way of background, I was in the fund finance space around 10 years ago and left to go and do a couple of other things. And it's very interesting upon its return to see just how much it's changed and transformed. And it was after the educational day, and I've been wanting to remain close to the organization, I started following you guys on LinkedIn. And when it was looking through the Fund Finance Association website to try and get the materials from the University Day, I discovered that you guys had like a mentoring program. And to me, it sounded great, even though it was a pilot program, being a US Fund Finance Association mentoring program. And my background lended itself to European fund finance. I thought there may have been a knowledge gap. So I immediately thought it was an opportunity I should grab with both hands, and I've got no regrets.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to get a shout out for the FFA University as well. So thanks to Mike Masher, as always, for introducing that, but it's also great that you were involved in it. So in terms of the actual mentor program itself, you were assigned with a mentor. How is that going? How are you finding it? How often are you speaking to them?
I find it very, very useful. And my experience with my mentor has been nothing short of great. The Fund Finance Association paired me with Matthias Jahnke at Wells Fargo, which is really interesting because we actually know a couple of people in common, and being paired with Matthias has allowed me to reconnect with a couple of those individuals who I haven't spoke to for a number of years. Matthias is really well regarded in the industry, and it's been a pleasure speaking with him so far. And like I say, after a few years away from the fund finance space, to me, I was also looking to try and rebuild the network in the sector. Obviously, through the COVID pandemic, that's not really straightforward. You can't travel anywhere or attend conferences and whatnot, but this platform has been fantastic, and it's provided me every opportunity to do that. To like initiate it, I had to actually take a personality test, which we maybe will touch on later, but provided some answers, and it's nowhere near as scary as it sounds throughout the application stage. It turns out you guys paired me with Matthias, so thank you very much.
Oh, no, that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you, because the personality testing is something that those who are listening to this may not be aware of, but as part of the pairing of mentors and mentees, we need to be mindful of commercial sensitivities as well as potential conflicts in the market. But indeed also, we have a huge industry now which involves a lot of people with a lot of very different personalities. So one of the suggested ways in a lot of mentor programs to pair mentors and mentees is for each to carry out a personality test so that we can make sure that you gel, because you're going to be talking about personal facts, circumstances, as well as work facts, circumstances, etc. And it's all completely confidential, of course, and we don't in any way sit and read everybody's reports with a cup of tea. It is provided on a confidential basis, specifically through individuals who are employed by the FFA. But how did you find that? You said you were happy to do the personality test?
Yeah, and you never know how these things are going to turn out, and whether it's going to identify something in you that you didn't even know you had. But it was a relatively straightforward thing to do, and anyone that might have a little bit of apprehension, there's no really need to feel that, because it really is very straightforward, and everything's confidential, and it actually shows you the outcome of the test straight away. So if you're okay with sharing that, you send that on to the Fund Finance Association, and hopefully they can pick someone of a similar kind of ilk and with similar desires that you've got.
Absolutely. We're able to pair people without having completed the personality test if that is something that either a mentor or a mentee isn't comfortable with. But of course, you know, the more information that we have, then the better we can make the match to be. So how's your experience with Matthias Beans so far? Have you talked about work matters, personality matters, market matters? What is it that you detail with him?
No, I've been lucky enough to speak to Matthias for as long as I've kind of requested, which has resulted in a call maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, typically in the mornings, kind of before work. And I've been able to speak to him on a range of different things he touched on. So whether it might be market developments or being able to bounce some ideas off of him or go through some specifics in just how the industry has changed over the past couple of years, having been away from the space. And to me, the benefit of having an external mentor really gives you that perspective or an external perspective. And it allows someone outside of your immediate work circle to be kind of a sounding board on ideas and initiatives and just give you kind of a third party view. So look, I couldn't have asked any more from him.
It's great to hear that you're talking about so many different points with Matthias. We did introduce a toolkit at the start of the program when we launched it and suggested some areas for conversation, because of course you need to build your relationship with your mentor and your mentee, you know, if you haven't ever met them previously in the market. So it's fantastic to hear that you're touching on so many areas, both internally and externally, and just sort of general topics. With that in mind, what's been your biggest takeaway from participating in the program?
Biggest takeaways have just been the actual size and scope of the industry sector. I think over the past 5, 6, 7 years, it's grown at an almost exponential pace. The Fund Finance Association didn't actually exist kind of 10 years ago when I was starting out in this sector. So to have a whole infrastructure already in place, I think is very welcoming for anyone that's looking to make perhaps a parallel move or someone that's looking to move into this sector. To me, by being a participant of the mentor scheme and having direct access to people who you can speak to and bounce ideas off through immersion rather than just reading from a website is far more valuable than anything that existed maybe a few years ago. So to me, just understanding the actual size and scope of how the industry has evolved, the number of people that are willing to actually help, people that are maybe looking to move into this space, and just the benefit of having all of these like-minded individuals that are kind of in the same state of mind that want to help each other. I think it's really, really powerful.
Absolutely. And as part of that, do you have any advice for those considering taking part in the 21-2022 program?
Yeah, I encourage anyone to try and, if they can, join the university days. As I said, this is how I came across the mentor program originally. And I think generally just what has happened with the world, you know, lockdowns over the past year or so have made a lot of things isolating for people. And by having at the touch of your fingertips access to a range of professionals across the world, you know, you've got access to that, and having a mentor scheme on top of that as well, I think it's a great resource, and I think it'll benefit a lot of people. Certainly it's benefited me, so thank you. And by being able to converse with someone who's wanting to share their wisdom and give something back is something that I extremely appreciate. And I hope to, hopefully at some point in the future, give something back to the association myself one day. And in time, should the opportunity present itself, I'd not think twice about being a mentor and giving something back. So I encourage all of the interns or graduates or people looking to move into the Fund Finance Association to go on the website, check it out, and if you can, join a mentor program, because it's invaluable. Absolutely.
I think that's where we can plug the website and we can plug the subscription there. So as you say, it's fundfinanceassociation.com, and you can subscribe to the mentor program. But we also have other initiatives as well. You've mentioned them there, but we have the Women in Fund Finance, we have the Next Generation Committees, the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, as well as also the FFA University that you attended. And it's something that people can and we encourage to actively get involved in, whether it's in terms of coming up together with ideas or thought leadership pieces or articles, anything that you think would be beneficial to the industry. So you roll together with your colleagues, anybody that you're talking to, we welcome all ideas and inclusion in participating with those committees, as well as anything that we can do in terms of the website itself.
Look, I think it's probably a good time for me to ask you this, Tina, but probably the best forum for it as well. But are there going to be any developments whereby maybe consenting members of the kind of mentor-mentee program are able to connect in kind of forums, or maybe share their experiences in kind of a community where I can speak to like-minded people like myself that have joined the mentor program, and you know, we can continue to grow and develop and see how things pan out? Is there any plans for that to be in place?
It's certainly on the list. I mean, the first and foremost, we hope that we can get the in-person conferences and networking opportunities available for everybody as soon as possible. So once everybody's able to travel, then whether we're able to do separate panels or group discussions and just simple sort of get-togethers in person, then that's absolutely going to be on the agenda. We also were thinking, when we were rolling out the program as part of the pilot, whether we wanted to ask people to join, whether it's just the mentors or just the mentees, join discussion forums and or meetings once a quarter, something like that. But we didn't want people to feel pressured into doing that. But if that's something that everybody feels would be beneficial, then absolutely. The more discussion, the more inclusion, and the more collaboration between all participants, the better. And it's going to make the program better as a whole if we get those types of feedbacks and requests, because everybody, as you say, will be connecting, will be networking, and will be learning what's happening in terms of the program, in terms of the market, in terms of the industry as a whole. So absolutely, any more ideas like that, please do pass them on.
Okay, and you've kind of touched upon another question I had. Just obviously, this is the US pilot program that I've been lucky enough to be part of. Is there any plans to roll this out across Europe and maybe Asia? And leads to my other question, is just how is the Fund Finance Association going to continue to grow its global reach and connect with other people that perhaps might not have come across it before?
The European program was launched a couple of months ago, and that was based off, it's twice the size of the US mentor program that we piloted last year. So that just had 15 participants in it in terms of mentees. And we're almost at 30 in terms of the European rollout, because we wanted to make sure that everything worked ultimately, and that the personality testing and that the pairing and the timelines actually worked. So that's just been commenced in Europe. We're in discussions to get and hope to have the Asian mentoring program rolled out in the fall this year. That market is slightly smaller, so we're not yet sure of headcount there, but again, we're welcoming, and we would like anybody to apply to be a mentor and a mentee in that jurisdiction as well. In terms of new initiatives, again, any ideas, we welcome them. We are looking for new panel discussions, any kind of thought leadership pieces, as I mentioned, and any type of forums that we can get everybody together to further widen and broaden the market as a whole. The Women in Fund Finance is extremely active in terms of its initiatives, and the Next Gen committees and the Diversity and Inclusion committees are just starting to get as equally as active in each of those jurisdictions. So we have the markets and each of the committees broken down by the US market, the European market, and the Asian market, and each of those are ploughing forward. I don't think we have an idea at the moment to have an FFA university in Asia, but who knows, that could be a 2022 initiative. So if we have any leaders in the group there who would like to be providing education to the market, then we would absolutely welcome that.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much. It's been great to find out a little bit more about the future plans, and I absolutely want to be a part of that, and long may it continue.
I hope to see you as a mentor one day. So great. Well, look, it's been really good to catch up, Rob. Thanks very much again. And any questions, give me a call.
Thank you very much.